Let us begin with a clear understanding. Kindness alone is insufficient for survival in this world. If you believe that being a good person is enough to achieve success, you are living in a fantasy, and the worst part is that you know it, even if you refuse to admit it. How often have you felt like others are literally walking all over you? How many times have you done the right thing, only to receive ignorance or, even worse, be taken advantage of? We were taught that being good is enough, that honesty and nobility are rewarded, but reality is different. The world does not reward the kind. It rewards those who know how to play their cards correctly. This is where Machiavelli comes onto the scene. He understood something most people ignore. Human nature is selfish and, when necessary, cruel. Kindness without strategy is a trap. Think of those you admire, those who have achieved great things. Do you think they achieved this only with good intentions? No, they succeeded because they knew how to move in the shadows when necessary, because they understood morality is not an obstacle but a tool. Knowing when to show it and when to hide it is the difference between a player and a pawn. Look around and tell me, how many times have you fallen into this trap? The real problem isn't that you're a good person, it's that you don't know how to defend yourself and your interests. You naively believe others play by the same rules as you, but this is a fundamental misconception. The world is full of predators disguised as friends, opportunists who sense naivety from a mile away, and you, without even realizing it, have been and remain an ideal target for them. Machiavelli offers a revolutionary alternative: intelligent kindness. This isn't about becoming a villain or betraying your principles. It's about deeply understanding that kindness must be accompanied by strategic thinking and an understanding of reality. It's the art of reading people, anticipating their true intentions, knowing exactly when to trust and when to maintain a strong defense. Remember Machiavelli's famous words, "It is better to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both." Now look at your choices. Surely you have always chosen the path of love, striving to be accepted, to appear harmless and friendly. But what have you received in return? Certainly not respect or power. Instead, you've gained the reputation of someone who can be used without any consequences. Because kindness without strength doesn't inspire admiration. It only awakens pity. But don't rush to conclusions. I'm not urging you to abandon your kindness. I am urging you to learn how to be strategically kind. It's important to understand the world doesn't reward the merely just. It rewards the perceptive and strategically thinking. True virtue lies not in blindly adhering to moral norms, but in skillfully balancing strength, a concept understood by few. It is insufficient to be strong. One must also know how to demonstrate it. Possessing intelligence is not enough. One must also project it. In this world, reality matters less than how others perceive you. Thinking about how many times you've seen an incompetent person advance further than a talented one, how a manipulator rises while the noble and hardworking remain in place. This is not chance. People follow not the kind or just, but the one who seems to control the situation, who knows how to manage their image, who radiates authority, who, even lacking answers, acts as if they possess them. Here many fail. They believe that truth is sufficient in itself, that true competence will speak for itself. But the world doesn't work that way. The world rewards not those who are right, but those who know how to sell their version of the story. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. It's not just about who you are, but what others believe you to be. A worker who doesn't know how to present themselves will never get a promotion, even if they are the best. A person who doesn't project value will never be desired, even if they have something to offer. Therefore, the key is not only being, but mastering the creation of a narrative about yourself, controlling your image, creating the right impression in every situation. Understand that people judge you through a filter of prejudices and emotions, and the question is, are you letting these filters work against you, or are you using them to your advantage? If you are good but seem weak, you will be treated as such. If you are just but seem mild, you will be trampled. If you are talented but seem insecure, you will be ignored. The art of projection is everything, because that is how others manage you. This is where we enter a darker but necessary area: control of information. Have you ever wondered why the most powerful always seem to know something that others don't? Why those who dominate the game always have an advantage? The answer is simple: because they know when to speak and when to remain silent. Naive people believe absolute honesty is a virtue, that always saying what you think and sharing everything you know is right. But in reality, information is power, and you cannot give away power without consequences. Machiavelli said that a ruler must know how to hide their true intentions, not because they should be a liar, but because in a world where everyone is seeking an advantage, the one who reveals too much becomes vulnerable. Learn to control what you share. Say only what is necessary and nothing more. Maintain an aura of mystery about what you really think. The moment you become completely predictable, when others can foresee your every move, you lose any strategic advantage you might have had. The greatest players in history, in politics, business, art, or any other field, understood this. Strategic silence is also a powerful tool. Think of someone you admire, someone with real influence. Is it someone who completely reveals themselves, or someone who always leaves something in the shadows, who always holds a hidden card? The problem for many is they confuse transparency with weakness. They believe that if they don't reveal everything, they are being dishonest. But it's not about lying. It's about controlling the flow of information in your favor. Think about it. How many times have you said power isn't about speaking more, it's about knowing when to speak and when to remain silent? Here's a key lesson that almost no one applies. The one who speaks the least, the one who explains the least, commands the most respect. Why? Because silence creates uncertainty, it creates curiosity, and curiosity gives power. If you always say what you think without a filter, people will lose interest. If you always explain your actions, people will assume you need to justify yourself. But when you speak only when necessary, when you carefully choose your words, when you leave room for interpretation, people start to truly pay attention to you. Here appears another fundamental concept, the art of unpredictability. Predictable people are easily manipulated. If you always act the same way, if you are predictable in your reactions, emotions, and decisions, others will be able to foresee you, will be able to use you. But when you are unpredictable, when people are never sure what your next move will be, you become dangerous. And when you are dangerous, you are respected. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. A leader whose moves can be plotted on a graph is a weak leader, but a leader who maintains a certain level of mystery, who changes when necessary, who never allows others to pigeonhole them, is a leader who remains in power. And now the question is, do you want to remain an open book that anyone can read, that can be manipulated and used, or do you want to start being a strategist, someone who controls their image and their unpredictability for their own benefit? Because kindness without strategy is simply an invitation to be taken advantage of. The world isn't changing its rules for you, so learn to play by the rules that really exist, not the ones you were made to believe. And if you do it right, if you apply what truly works, then, for the first time, you will stop being a victim of the system and become one of those who manages it. But here comes the most interesting part, the art of strategic distance. Many believe the key to power is to always be present, to be ubiquitous, to force yourself to be noticed at every moment, but reality is different. The one who is too available loses their value. Scarcity creates desire, absence creates influence. Think about it. Why do some people command more respect simply by their presence, while others can try as hard as they can, they will not achieve it? The difference lies in the perception of their value. Machiavelli said that a ruler must avoid excessive accessibility, not because they should despise their people, but because excessive familiarity destroys respect. When you are always around, when you give without measure, people start taking your presence, your efforts, your generosity for granted. This applies not only to politics or power, it applies to relationships, work, life itself. When you give too much, you become disposable. When you are always available, you become a resource, not a person of value. Think about how many times you have given everything for someone only for them not to appreciate it, how many times you have been there for everyone only to be ignored when you needed them. This is not coincidence, it's human nature. What is abundant is despised, what is rare is valued. Therefore, you must learn to regulate your presence, to dose your attention, to manage the perception of your availability. Don't always respond immediately. Don't always be within reach for everyone. Make your absence noticeable. Make your presence appreciated, because when you learn to disappear at the right moment, when you learn to regulate your energy, people will start seeking you out. The problem is that most people are afraid to disappear, They fear that if they step back, they will be forgotten. But here's the cruel truth. If your only way to be remembered is to be around, then you were never truly valuable. Those who truly have influence aren't those who shout the loudest. They are those who know how to manage silence, who know when to step back and when to reappear. Look at any great figure in history. The real players aren't everywhere. They aren't exhausting. They appear when it really matters, and when they do, everyone pays attention. And this leads us to another key point. Emotional control is a tool of power. Here, most fail. People think control is based on strength, on aggressiveness, on self-assertion, on a loud voice and clenched fists. But the true mastery, what Machiavelli understood better than anyone, is the necessity of absolute control over emotions. Because the one who loses control, who reacts impulsively, who gives in to anger or anxiety, becomes predictable, manageable, and weak. Remember the last time someone made you lose your composure? At the moment you got angry, when you reacted without thinking, who had the power in that situation? Not you, but the other person who knocked you off balance, who provoked your reaction. Because the one who controls your emotions controls your actions. Here is the key. The one who cannot be provoked, who maintains their center despite everything, is the one who truly possesses power. Whether it's a discussion, negotiation, relationship, or any social interaction, the one who maintains emotional control always wins, because the one who controls their emotions controls how others perceive them. Machiavelli clearly showed that a prudent man should always act with coldness and calculation. It's not about not feeling, it's about not being a slave to your feelings, not being a reactive animal that anyone can manipulate. If you apply this correctly, you become impenetrable. Others may try to hurt you, they may try to provoke you, but if they can't move your center, if they can't predict how you will react, they lose control over you. That's the truth. Those who truly dominate the game are not the strongest, but those who remain calm when everyone else is losing their heads. This brings us to the final key point, the power of strategic patience. Most people want immediate results. They want success now, respect now, power now. But what Machiavelli taught, what the great players in history have applied again and again, is that true power belongs not to those who act impulsively, but to those who know how to wait for the perfect moment to make their move. The world is full of people who rush, act without thinking, make decisions without considering the long-term consequences, but those who truly control the game know how to wait, know how to observe, know how to calculate. Think of a hunter. They don't shoot at the first movement. They observe, measure the distance, wait for the prey to be in the exact position. Only when the moment is right do they strike. The game of power is not always won by the one who moves first, but by the one who moves at the right moment. Machiavelli said that fortune favors those who know how to adapt to circumstances. It's not about running in all directions. It's about knowing when to speed up and when to slow down. Mediocre people act on impulse. Strategists wait for their opportunity. And now I ask you, are you one of those who rushes forward without thinking, or one of those who waits for their moment to strike with surgical precision? Because in this world, power doesn't belong to the fastest. It belongs to the smartest, to those who know how to manage perception, information, distance, emotional control, and strategic patience. But here's what truly distinguishes those who merely survive from those who dominate their destiny: the ability to become an anomaly in the system. Now you understand that kindness alone is not enough, that perception is everything, that emotional control is a tool of power, that strategic patience defeats impulsiveness, and that scarcity increases your value. But what good is all of this if you continue to act like everyone else? If you want different results, you must become someone who doesn't conform to traditional rules, not in the sense of senseless rebellion, but in the sense of rewriting the script. The problem with most people is that they think within the limits imposed on them, follow the same patterns, react as expected, move within what is acceptable or expected. But those who truly leave a mark, those who change the game in their favor, are those who dare to be unpredictable, to play by new rules, to do what no one expected. Here's the big secret. The world is designed to take advantage of conformists. If you do the same as everyone else, you will get the same results as everyone else. This means mediocrity. This means being just another forgotten name in the endless stream of time. The only way to win is to go beyond the pattern, to be the one who acts differently, who doesn't react as others expect, who always has a hidden card, who is never fully understood. That's when people listen to you, because what you say is not cheap. When this becomes part of you, you realize that you were never weak. You just weren't playing with the right strategy. You understand that people ignored you, not because you were worth nothing, but because you never knew how to project your value. But now you know, and this knowledge is dangerous, because the moment you start applying it, there will be no turning back. The moment you master managing information as a tool, using silence as a weapon, you will begin to notice how the world reacts to you differently. The people who used to ignore you will start paying attention. Those who used to underestimate you will start wondering what has changed in you. Those who tried to manipulate you will be afraid to make a move against you because you are no longer the same. You become someone who understands the playing field. And here comes the most important decision. Are you going to apply this, or will you go back to ignorance? Because what separates the thriving from the lagging is not knowledge, but action. You can stay here with this information floating in your head as an interesting but harmless idea, or you can start implementing it. The choice is yours, but I warn you, if you go back, if you continue to act as before, you will do it with the awareness that you